So we're now moving into the Bread of Life discourse in the Gospel. We'll hear this over the next few days. Remember, we were listening to John chapter 3, and where we hear about, God so loved the world and the whole thing with Nicodemus, and that was really about baptism. Now the church is looking at the Eucharist. This is for the neophytes, those who are newly baptized, are saying, okay, now you become Catholic. Now let's look at these mysteries that have happened to you, and it's a good reminder for us as well, remembering, okay, these are the gifts in the mystery, what God is doing in our lives, what He's done through baptism, what He's done through the Eucharist. And so if you'd gone to Mass on Friday, you would have heard about the multiplication of the loaves. On Saturday was the walking on the sea. And that's all summed up in that first line here. And so now we're starting into the Bread of Life discourse. He says, okay, work for the food that, you do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures for eternal life. He's saying, make sure you're looking for the right thing. Because why? You were looking for me not even because you saw signs. And Jesus complained that people were looking for Him not because they believed in Him, but because they were seeing signs. He says, now you're not even coming after me because you saw signs, but because I fed your stomachs. He says, don't work for that. Don't work for just that passing thing, but for that which will last. And how often in our lives do we go for that passing moment? Something that won't last. I'm thinking about in the book of Genesis when Esau and Jacob are having their little fights and stuff, and Esau comes in from work, from hunting or whatever he was doing out there, and he's starving, he's famished, and Jacob says, here, I'll sell you this food that I'm making for your birthright. And he's like, what good is my birthright if I starve to death right here? And he passes off something that's much more important for this passing bit of food, as if it wouldn't have taken him that long to really make breakfast or something like that. But that's what we do, right? We pass off the eternal for something which is very passing. And then they ask, what can we do to accomplish the works of God? This is the work of God, that you believe in the one He sent. This call to faith. And faith isn't just about an intellectual assent, but faith, especially in the understanding of that Jewish context of the first century, faith meant, I stake my life on this. I'm putting my whole self into this. It's not just that I believe that there is a God, because after all, James in his letter says, yeah, the demons believe there is a God and they shudder. But rather, that we put ourselves, our whole selves, into this, so that if God does not exist, my life does not make sense. This is the work of God, that you believe in the one He sent. May we truly believe Jesus' words when He says, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. When He says, as we'll hear later this week, I am the bread of life. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life within you. May we believe His words when He says to us, look for the things that don't perish. Work for that food. May we truly believe Him when He says, I will be the one that satisfies your deepest longing.